I did a bit of therapy. I've done it with a couple of things. Like, it's never worked for me. One of them dozed off as I was talking.
What is the next brilliant thing?
Silence. Oh, man.
Good for a podcast.
Yeah, but do you know what, though? Everyone's like, whenever you go out or whatever, they just need to have background music everywhere. And like, they've started doing this in restaurants where it gets abnormally loud.
Yep.
And you're just
Okay, that's age. Like, that's what it is. Because I've got probably 10, 15 years on you, but it is that thing where you're like, it's too loud in here. It's too loud.
Honestly, like sometimes I'm like, what? We don't need to fill everything with noise. Like we can just sit in silence sometimes. It's like when you're sitting with some of your friends and there's always one of them like that wants to I was probably that guy before I started stand-up.
Yeah.
Like,
no. Well, you have a vent. There's somewhere that your poison can go.
Absolutely. So now I'm just like, but I love silence. I just think, and plus nowadays there's always something. There's like a podcast or there's like a TV program or a bit of music and it's like, I just those moments where you're just like with your own thoughts. I think that's probably why a lot of people don't want to be with their own. Yeah. But it's just brilliant.
But it's when something pops into your head as well that it's so hard to be alone with your thoughts if you are just surrounded by this sort of cacophony.
Yeah.
But that kind of privileged moment where you're, particularly as a stand-up or probably as any creative, where your brain whispers to you and just goes, here's a joke.
Yeah.
Like, where have you been?
Absolutely.
Just waiting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just think there's so much beauty that you miss when you're always like, let me just slap some headphones in or let me...
It's difficult though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're completely right. But it is that thing where they're so radioactively interesting phones that you have to make a real effort not to have it near you.
Yeah.
Because it's like reaching for a pack of fags in
there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just kind of, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, before you know it, you're like deep down a rabbit hole on YouTube before.
Yeah. When do you try and factor in silence? Do you do like meditation?
No. In the morning, man. Just don't put anything on.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just listen. Because where I live, it's a quiet road, so I can often hear the birds chirping in the morning, which isn't totally silent, but that's a much better noise than me slapping on and seeing like I don't know, like GMB or whatever it is.
Yeah. And what was the name? There's that brilliant stand-up that used to have the routine about that. Do you remember? Because birds tweeting, it does sound wonderful, but
Nick Revel.
Nick Revel, that's it. But essentially, those birds are going, "You want to fuck? Yeah, fuck yeah." But he's so bang on. But there is something. I guess we're in mating season now, so that's why we're hearing them.
Yeah,
but I still love wood pigeons when I was a kid. You know that.
Oh, I'd still rather that than like the binmen.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I used to try and, like, when I was on my paper round as a kid, I would try and go to talk back to them, and I got a few of them going, and then I felt bad.
Do you know what was funny?
Because that's catfishing.
No, absolutely. But there was a what I remember. This was years ago where they were like, "Oh yeah, birds are starting to mimic ringtones."
That's right. Yeah.
And I was just like, I've never heard a bird do kick. Do you know what I mean? Like, din, 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 or the hurdy-gurdy. Like, I was like, how true is this? Like, you've never heard of...
Yeah, the crazy frog. Like, you're not hearing... But apparently they were... And, like, it was like traffic lights and all that kind of stuff, wasn't it? It was sort of like birds in and around sort of major cities. Fascinating.
I'm Ronnie Pickering.
Wow, that is a blast from the past.
But yeah, in terms of like meditation and stuff, I don't really try meditation. I'll go to the sauna.
Yeah,
and but the thing is, where I go to the gym and stuff, it's got a sauna in it, but it's in South London. So what you end up getting is a lot of these like older men that just start discussing politics in there.
Do you know, it's so interesting because I frequent a sauna, and it is that, like, there's a lot of old men talking about the way the world is. You get a lot of that voice. Yeah, you wouldn't think it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen this? Yeah, like, and you just like, shut the fuck. Like,
yeah.
I want to sweat. I don't want to listen to you just bang on. And there's always like,
I always get some ethnic granddad as well. He's like, yeah, you know the problem with America is, and you're like, bro, like you don't need to say it that loudly, and it's all like conspiracy theories after conspiracy theories.
I think it's they're all the bigger and there's and all the skin starts shaking. Do you know what I mean? The nuts are going. It's awful. It's like an old grandfather clock.
The older guys, though, I don't know if you've experienced the same thing, but I find out that older guys really don't care about bearing it all.
No.
So like, there's one guy. He's part of the local church in my area. I don't want to say his name, but he's a very nice man. Like in his spare time, he like picks up litter off the street and stuff. But when he's in the changing room, he'll be holding his towel in his hand.
Yeah.
But he's just like bollock naked, and he's having a full-on conversation with you. Like, oh, how you doing, Kay? How's the tour going? And you're just like, mate, like, can you just...
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to see all of that.
Well, because then you're having to talk directly into someone's eyes, which is even weirder.
Yeah.
If you're just kind of, it's fine. The tour is going fine. You can get tickets at what's the website?
Kae.com.
Yes.
But yeah. But you're just like, I don't know. There's something about that generation where they're just like, I don't know whether they want to do. They had it all out in school showers or whatever.
Yeah. The problem I always think as well, because I've got a lazy eye, so I can, like...
You're looking at it.
Yeah, well, this is it. So I just have to kind of, like, constantly kind of walk around like that, and then that's even worse. You just look absolutely mental. I remember meeting a girl in Thailand, and I felt dreadful because she went, oh, fucking hell's Russell Howard! And she'd been on a silent retreat, and she broke it because she went, fucking hell, it's Russell Howard. And I was just in a bar watching Liverpool West Brom when Emre Can scored that amazing goal. Brilliant. And she was really angry with me. And you're like, it's not my fault,
I'd open with it.
Yeah. But it was just it's such a weird... But like, I've had a few friends that have gone to silent retreats with, complete strangers. And the idea of it, if you're into that, must be great. But then you must need that moment when all of you talks about what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, do you know that?
How long would you go? Like, how long?
No, I wouldn't go on a silent retreat.
How long would you last?
Well,
I'll give you 20 minutes.
Well, because I have a deep desire to yammer. Like, so it's that thing of, because I get such, as I'm sure you do, you get such excitement from spotting a joke and seeing a moment. Like I remember being in a steam room in Sweden, and I said to this guy, because of all the mist, I feel like broccoli. And he was like, well, maybe they're serving it at the cafeteria. And you're like, no. But he thought I'd interrupted the steam to tell him what my favourite... Do you like broccoli? Broccoli's good, isn't it?
I actually prefer parsnips.
but that thing of like... So something major would have to have happened to me for me to go to that. I've got a bully of a brain, and I don't particularly like it. I quite like doing stuff. But when you're sat with silence and your brain's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? What about this?
Yeah.
All these mistakes. It's just this blizzard, man. I can't deal with it.
Have you done therapy or anything like that?
Yeah, but you then end up trying to make the therapist laugh. And And then he starts writing stuff down, and you feel proud because you're like, like that. And he's like, well, I'm actually writing a book. And you're like, excellent. And then you say something that you think's fantastic, and he doesn't pick the pen up. And rather than deal with your problems, you're like, you're not going to...
Yeah, absolutely.
Pick that, because that was good.
I did a bit of therapy. I've done it with a couple of things. Like, it's never worked for me. I'd never enjoyed the process of it. But one of them dozed off as I was talking.
I mean, as far as heckles go.
Yeah, exactly.
It was around that time that my dad abused me.
Bro, like, I forgot what I was talking about, and then I'm looking, because you're not looking deep.
You're there for anger issues, and you've beaten a sleeping man.
He's just there, like, I'm like looking sort of around and whatever as I'm talking, moving my hands, and I'm just like, I just see.
Mate.
And then he realised what he's done, and there was a moment where we locked eyes, and he was like, sorry. And I was like, way to make someone feel better about themselves, man.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, fuck this, man. I'm out, man. Like.